everyone, it's Gemma here again from High Impact. Welcome to our second video for IMWED in association with the RAF. Today we're going to be walking the solar system. Now, if you want to do this at home, Phil is going to show you how to sort out your walk on a computer. So over to you, Phil.
Thanks, Gemma. I'm here on the computer here and I've got a spreadsheet all loaded up ready to go, which will help you to work out how far you need to walk if you want to walk the solar system yourself. On the left hand side here we've got all of our planets, and we've also got all of these columns which mention scaled distances, and they're the important columns for us. This red number here is number 5. That's how far you want to walk. So the total length you want to walk, you're just going to pop into there and it will work out all of the values for you. If you want to walk a 10 kilometre distance, then you'll pop that into there and all of these numbers will change. We're going to do a 5 kilometre walk. I'm going to put 5 back into there and you'll see that all of these values have changed back. Column I is quite an important one because that's how far your walk is, and it'll tell you how far each planet is from your starting point, the Sun. Ending at Pluto here, 5,000 meters away, which is obviously 5 kilometers. That's the value we put into here. Now the problem with this column is, unless you're using a GPS tracking app, which is what we're going to use for our walk, it can be a little bit difficult to work out how far you've got to go to get to each planet afterwards, because 1,208 is the total distance you'll have walked to get to Saturn. And that's where the step distance comes in. The step distance talks about how many steps roughly you need to take to get to the next planet. An adult step is about a metre-ish. Children's steps maybe a little bit less than that, but the average human step is about a metre. And so this one tells us how many steps we have to take from planet to planet. So column K, a really important column. 49 for the first planet, and then we get to 43 extra to get to Venus, 35 extra to get to Earth, 66 after that to get to Mars, and so on and so on. And you'll see it goes quite a bit bigger from there. So this is the spreadsheet that you'll use. There'll be a link to this in the video description below. We're going to jump on to Google Earth now, and we're going to work out a route now that we know how far we're going to walk. Here we are on Google, ready to go onto Google Earth. I'm just going to search for Google Earth on here. If you have an iPad or a tablet, you can do this on there as well, but it's pretty easy to do on the computer if you've got a computer. I'm going to click on Explore Google Earth at the top here. And it should load up Google Earth for me in my web browser. Now, the new version of Google Earth has a fantastic feature, which is this ruler over here. We can basically draw a distance, draw a route, and it'll tell us how far that route is. And we're looking for about a 5 kilometre walk. So we're going to zoom in by searching for a place. So we're going to use that magnifying glass. I'm going to search for New Brighton, since that is very close to where I live. And that's where I think would be a good place to do our walk. And I fancy doing it up the front actually in New Brighton. So let's have a little look here. And I think our starting point should probably be the War Memorial here. And we'll work out a distance right up the front as far as we can go. So there's our War Memorial. I'm going to press on the ruler. And all we have to do is just click. So I'm going to click on the War Memorial. And then we're going to walk from there. And you can see the meters going up here. Now, of course, we're not going to walk exactly in a straight line here like this is, because bits of it go into the sea, but you can work out a rough distance just by doing this. So you can click at each point, and I'm going to stop it at about 2.5 kilometers in that direction, because that, with it being 2.5 kilometers, will now allow us to then walk back the same way. And it'll be a 5 kilometre walk. So that's 2.5 kilometres to there. We could always go back again. Just make sure it's going to be roughly, there we go, close the shape. Just over 5 kilometres, almost exactly 5 kilometres as you can see there, which is the perimeter reading. That's the one that we're looking at. Starting at the War Memorial on the front of New Brighton, walking all the way down here. We're not quite getting to the ferry terminal, which is here, but we're getting roughly close to it. And then walking all the way back. So we're going to do a circular route here. What we're going to do is we're going to go and start our walk at the War Memorial. I'm going to drop my man in there so we can see what the War Memorial looks like. And we'll see you very soon. And we're here at the War Memorial on the front in New Brighton. We are ready to walk the solar system. This is where the sun would be. This is 0 meters from the sun at the moment. We're going to use a GPS tracking app to track how far we are walking so that we know roughly where our first, second and so on planets are. And what is our first planet, Phoebes?
Mercury.
Mercury is correct. The sun has just poked itself back in, but hopefully we'll get a bit more sun, a bit less wind. Let's go.
We've made it 66 million kilometres or 49 metres. The sun is just there, our War Memorial where we started. I can still see it very clearly. But we have made it to Mercury. Now, when we were sending our astronauts to the moon with the Apollo missions, there was a separate mission that was entirely for women that was called the Mercury Project, the Mercury 13 ladies. And they have been immortalised now through their petitions to get women into space, because at the time they did all the same training as the men, but they weren't allowed to go. We are going to Venus next.
And we have made it all the way to Venus, 108 million kilometres from the sun, or in reality, we've only actually walked about 93 metres, so not very far at all. The War Memorial's still very, very visible from where we are. Now, Venus is the only planet to be named after a woman, and we also have the work of Vicky Hansen to celebrate here at Venus. Vicky Hansen was instrumental in mapping the surface of the planet Venus, as it's very difficult to get probes and other sensors down there because of how hot it is there. So Vicky Hansen really did change how we look at Venus. Now, next, what are we doing?
Next, we're going home to Earth.
We've made it home to Earth, so we're 152 million kilometres from the sun, or 127 metres. So we still haven't gone that far, we've got a long way to go. Now, when we were sending our astronauts into space, there were lots of women that were called human computers. This was before electronic computers existed, so they did all the maths in their head. And one of the women that I'm really impressed by is Mary Jackson. She was instrumental in getting the rockets that sent the first astronauts into space up into the outer atmosphere and back again safely, so she's super important. And NASA have just named their headquarters in Washington after her.
The next planet we're going to is Mars.
So here we are, Mars, the fourth planet from the sun. We are 208 million kilometres from the sun now, but in reality we're only 193 metres from the War Memorial, which is only just over there, so we're really not far still from our starting point. Mars is a very interesting planet. Lots of work been done on Mars recently with the Mars rover, and there's a team of exclusively female scientists who are in charge of the laser system on the Mars rover, which is used to get samples of rocks from the Martian surface.
We're done with our inner planets, now we're on the way to Jupiter.
So we are now at Jupiter. We are 772 million kilometres from the sun now, or on our walk that is 659 metres. So we've gone a little distance now. Jupiter is the biggest of our planets in our solar system, and we've now left our inner planets back there, and we are going to be heading out a long way now to our outer planets.
here we are at Saturn, which is nearly 1.5 billion kilometres from the Sun. In real life, just over 1,200 metres we are from our starting point of the War Memorial. Lots of astronomers over the years have been involved with the study of Saturn, but one of the most important ones was Caroline Porco, who discovered that there was ice on one of the moons of Saturn, which is a really big discovery in the history of Saturn. We're on our way now to our next planet, which is Uranus.
So we are now at Uranus. We have come 2.6 billion kilometres, really long way. I can't see the War Memorial anymore because we've come over a few hills, and in reality the sun would be really quite dim this far out. What we're going to do now, because we are ever so nearly halfway and we're doing a circular route, is we're going to walk 100 metres that way, and then we'll be turning around and coming back so that we can get on our way to Neptune.
And we're here at Neptune, the 8th planet from the Sun, which is 4.47 billion kilometres away from the Sun. In reality, we're about 3,800 metres from our starting point. Neptune is an interesting planet because it's one of the planets that the New Horizons satellite sailed straight past, and integral in the work on the New Horizons and Voyager projects were Susan Dodd and Helen Winters.
We're nearly at our last stop, Pluto.
Hi, we are at Pluto, so we've made it to the end of our 5-kilometre walk. In reality, if we were in the solar system, we'd be 5.9 billion kilometres away from the Sun. A huge distance, as I'm sure you can imagine, but a 5-kilometre walk, quite nice. So one of my favourite women that I've learned about while doing this was Elizabeth Williams, and she was a lady that did all the maths in the 1800s that enabled some scientists to find Pluto. So without a woman, we would not have found Pluto as early as we did. So thank you for joining us today, and remember, if you want to do your own walk of the solar system, the link is underneath for you to be able to work out your own distances for your local area. We hope you enjoy doing it. Bye.